morning. Welcome to Conscious Straight Talk with Katie and Lindsey.
Yes, hi, my name is Katie Hutchinson, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm also a certified mediator. And today,
You wanted to do a shout out to all the people who
Right.
want to send prayers and love.
right, we want to, not a shout out, but we want to send prayers and love to everybody that was affected by what happened this weekend. And we're going to talk about this
shootings?
more.
You said there were 5 different shootings.
I
Mass.
think that there were 5 or more mass shootings this just over the weekend in various states, and there have been 189 mass shootings since January in the United States. And this is such a pandemic. It's such a problem.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. We're definitely going to
gonna
talk about it on Friday.
again.
We're
We're
going
going
to
to
share
talk
some
about
tips.
it on Friday because it doesn't seem to end. But
Yeah.
today, what are
I'm
we
Lindsey
talking about?
Kearns. I'm Lindsey Kearns. I'm the mama behind MalibuMamaLoves.com, and I'm also a certified conscious trauma-informed life coach.
Mhm.
And today, we are so happy that Katie is back. As
Yes.
you guys know, she was sick on Friday, but now you are back in perfect health, thank
Mhm.
God. And I wanted to continue the conversation on trauma bonding. I gave you guys some tips of what it would look like, what it kind of feels like within the relationship. And today I wanted to have a conversation with Katie and bring her in on that, and so that we can all start talking more about it. Because the trauma bond is really just an emotional bond with an individual that has reoccurring cyclical patterns of abuse, you guys. Devaluation, and then really positive reinforcement. So it's a lot of pain, pleasure,
That
pain,
circle
pleasure.
again. That's the circle and the cycle of abuse again. So what happens is because you're actively triggered all the time because of this emotional, physical, sexual,
Long-term abuse. Yeah.
That your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight or fawn or freeze system is on overdrive. And it shouldn't be on overdrive because it's not healthy. But it's trying to save us, right? So that's ignited. And then as a result, that turns off your brain right here, this prefrontal cortex, which is so important. And that is controls our risk analysis. So
You
not
can't really tell if you're
thinking
fully
properly.
in danger. Yep.
Exactly. And it's also for our future planning. And very interestingly enough, in people, this is not fully developed until people are 25 years old, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. It
Mhm.
takes time.
Yep.
And it takes many different forms. It's not just within a partnership,
Right.
right? So this can happen with
Fraternities.
Greek-hazing, military, child caregiver roles, prisoners and cults, kidnapping, where we get the Stockholm syndrome.
Yep.
Now, I just want to talk real quick. There's a little difference between the Stockholm syndrome and a trauma bond. The Stockholm syndrome is more of a danger situation. Like the person has been kidnapped, they've been brainwashed, they've been something with intent to really hurt or defame or some way. So that would be Stockholm. A trauma bond is just more insidious and slow, and usually between 2 people in a long-term situation where you've been together for a long time on whatever the relationship is, however it is.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to just tell you a story about Patty Hearst. I'm sure that you guys, a lot of people have heard about Patty Hearst. So she came from one of the biggest media mogul families around. Extremely wealthy family. And this was in 1974. And so what happened was this group, they were called the Liberation Army, they kidnapped her. And they kept her in a closet, and they emotionally abused her, and I don't know what other kind of abuse she sustained. But so after 12 days, she had become so bonded to them. Also, I'm sure she was terribly afraid. And she'd become so bonded with them that she'd actually joined their group. And she was on a camera wielding a gun and holding up a bank. And so she went to prison for a while.
That's a great example of Stockholm syndrome. You know, when your brain is put into serious trauma danger, it flips and it does what it has to do to survive.
That's when you'd fawn.
She was doing what she had to do to survive.
Yes.
Right? And so we kind of wanted to share with you, that's a broad example, more of a cultish situation, Stockholm syndrome. We wanted to we wrote a little skit we want to share with you guys. I've lived this for many years, and I just wanted to give you an up close and personal look at what the trauma bond looks like in that moment, because it's confusing is the only word I can keep using. It's so confusing. It took me so many years to figure it out. You want to set the stage?
So we are two very good friends, like best friends, and we've just run into each other randomly at like Trader Joe's. Okay, so we've run into each other, and she's the victim, and I'm the friend that's, not the victim. Okay. Hi. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that we ran into each other.
How are you? You look amazing.
Thank you. So do you. What's going on with you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm doing great. How your hair looks incredible. Did you change it?
Thank you. No, but I
but it
know
looks
you
really good.
very well. Are you still in the relationship that you were in before that was not
fine.
healthy?
It's fine. No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Are you
Oh,
sure?
I love your clothes. Like, your outfit is you're always so well dressed, Katie.
Thank you. But you know
You're so
what?
cute.
I know you well, and I see through your face, and it looks to me like something isn't going well in this already sort of abusive from what you've told me, relationship.
I mean,
come on, I'm one of your best friends.
I know. I'm definitely a little confused. I'm definitely a lot confused right now.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that?
I feel like I'm in a tornado. I'm so confused. We had a fight yesterday again, and it got really bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was yelling and screaming. He took apart my phone and hid my keys, and I actually had to walk here today to get because I needed some groceries, and all I can do, Katie, is think about when he's gonna come back and when he's gonna fix this for me.
This is not
and
normal.
I don't understand. Like, he's angry at me for hurting me.
Mm-hmm. This is not normal, and this is not love, because I've heard you say we're just so in love. This is not love, and this is not normal. I know, and that is normal when you're in a certain situation. Have you heard of trauma bonding?
No, I haven't.
So it's basically you bond with somebody that's being abusive to you, and that's what's happened to you, and it's hard to deprogram.
But I feel like he's the only one. Like, there's no one else for me.
He's not. There's
no
other
one
people.
will ever love me the way that he does.
That's not true. This is not love. And that's not true. You're going to find somebody better.
I'm so confused, Katie.
I know, but you're aware, and I'm making you aware.
Why do I want him back so bad?
Because of the trauma bonding. And so that's what trauma bonding looks like. So
that confusion, that moment, like I'm literally in tears, like I want you back, but you just hurt me bad so much last night. Like, why do I feel this way? And oftentimes we want to rip our hair out, and then we isolate. We sit alone for days while the other person goes off and does their thing, and then comes back. Oh, you're calm now. I love you. And they love bomb you for a few days, and you just keep going around and around. So if you're sitting out there and you're feeling any of what you just saw in me, chances are you're stuck in some form of a trauma bond, and just awareness is going to be the first step to help you.
Number one, awareness and research.
As soon as this is over, open a new window, type in Google trauma bonding, and have a look at it, because it will open up your eyes to so many things. It took me probably a year or two to rewrite and reframe those trauma bonds and to get out of them once I was aware of them. And again, I found that in the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program. That's when I started learning about all these things. So I cannot encourage you guys enough. Want to do our masterclass with us? Find a class that works with you. Find a community. We have to start talking about it. It's not just with Stockholm Syndrome in extreme situations. This does happen every day, right?
Yeah. I also see this a lot with borderline personality disorder, and it's a huge problem. So number one is awareness, like Lindsey was saying. That's number one, and researching. I believe in groups. I think groups are great, and
you can find those at hospitals, at churches, at community centers.
Kaiser has groups. I don't know if they have specific trauma bonding, but it could be relationship issues. Number three, therapy. I always say therapy. Of course, I'm a therapist, but I believe in therapy. And I will say that after my very traumatic divorce, which I've told you guys about, I went to therapy for 5 years. 5 years straight, 3 times a week.
Well, it's interesting that you bring this up, and I just had this thought. You want to talk about trauma bonding. During that time, right after he did all of that stuff, and we shared those with you guys, I think they're around episode 30. Right after that, you were still wanting to work things out and protecting him while he was throwing you to the wolves.
For sure.
But that is an excellent example of trauma bonding. That's why you were doing that.
Yep.
And probably everyone in your life was like, what are you doing? Stop
They
that.
were. And I did want him
And you
back.
can't.
I did want him
Well,
back and the family. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit more challenging. But definitely for years I wanted my family back.
Well, and I just thought of another thing too, a red flag that you'll notice is when you're trauma bonded, you will start to fall away from your friends and your family because you won't want to hear their advice anymore, and they won't want to hear the crazy roller coaster ride that you're on.
Mm-hmm.
So you do start to lose relationships and stuff if you don't reframe, if
Well,
you don't learn.
And exactly, and people will start to say to you, your friends, like, "I love you, but you gotta put an end to this because I cannot hear the same thing over and over again and see you hurt yourself
Right.
over and over again."
Right.
So therapy groups, number one is awareness, research. Did I
Yeah,
forget anything?
Talk about it. Reach out, you guys. Give us some
Yes.
comments. Give us a like on this one.
Yes.
We want to hear from you. We want to keep the conversation going. It's important. And if
Mhm.
you're in this situation, send me a DM, reach out. I mean, I've lived it for 30 some odd years, so
Mhm.
on probably 3 different levels I had to break. So
Yeah.
please reach out. We're here for you. We love
Right.
talking.
And on Friday, we're going to talk about gun violence.
Violence,
Again,
and
just like we said. Because,
Wednesday, we're going to give you some really helpful tips on how much travel will help your mental health.
Mhm.
So we're going to talk about that on Wednesday, and then Friday we'll do the shooting.
I know.
But
So
we have some
upsetting.
great tips coming up for
Sending
on
you
that.
all love out there.
Yep. All right. Happy
Bye-bye.
Monday, you guys. Crush it this week.